Now, in my experience, buying and or making a new tool is never a bad thing. It's always a good time, and it's really cool and awesome to make something that you're going to use to make your other work easier, even though this is work itself. But that's all good, and that's what we're going to do today: shop press.
And now you're watching the text conversation left unread constantly, like at all times. Welcome to BodeVision.
Hey, so what is up and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on another video. So like I just mentioned, today what we're going to be making is a press. I've been wanting to make one of these for quite a while, never had a reason to, but now I am. So that's what we're doing. So I just got back from the metal shop. This is the little list that I brought them, everything that I needed. Two 24-inch sections, and that's just the U-channel stuff. 5 20 inches, 2 6x6 plates. That's these right there. This little flat bar, and then this solid round stock. So the exact way that this is going to work once it gets assembled, you know what, let me just draw it out for you. So that's just a rough drawing of the design. The next thing I want to do is I want to kind of assemble it right here just using these clamps, and then I need to mark where I need to have all the metal completely cleaned before I can weld it, and then I'll reassemble it, tack it, weld it, and we're going to be moving right along. This whole thing is pretty self-explanatory, not too difficult, it's just a matter of doing it. So everything's mocked up, looking really good. What I have right here, this is just a magnet with a little right angle on it, but that's also going to this framing square, which is making sure that this is real square. We gotta make sure this is a right angle, and also this is a right angle, and also the distance from this point to that point has to be the same from this point to that point. So once I make sure everything's set, everything is good to go, I'm gonna go ahead and tack it together, and I gotta do that really carefully. This is probably gonna be the part that's gonna take the longest. Actually assembling it and doing all the final welds, that's gonna be pretty quick. This is where we need to take our time and be careful. So it's all tacked together now, everything's looking good and square. Now the next thing I gotta do is just go ahead and complete all these welds. I just wanna make sure these welds are really nicely. I gotta make sure this one up here is really strong, because this bar right here, that's gonna be the bar that's taking most of the weight. So it'll be fine, let's get it welded. Got it all welded up, and I'm by no means a professional welder, but these welds, they'll hold, they'll be nice and strong. They're not the prettiest, but that's all right. So as you can see, it's already coming together nicely. So the bottle jack is gonna sit right here, and it's gonna push this down, and then the springs are gonna be holding it. This is just gonna be free floating, and that's gonna go up and down and up. So everything else is gonna be solid. This is going to be what moves, and then I'm going to have different little base plates down here, or different little jigs that I'm going to have to get set up. So this is going to come down to there. So the next thing I got to do, we want to make sure that these don't slide forward and backwards. So the reason why I had that little bar stock is I'm going to weld these on each corners just like this, and then something like that to make sure that it slides up and down nicely. And that's the next step. Then we're done with welding. So now we got it looking real good. The next thing that I'm gonna do is we're just gonna take this round stock right here and I'm gonna put that right up in there. And that's gonna be kind of like a little punch rod. And that's what I'm gonna be using most of the time. For example, if I have studs that need to come out of a hub, that's what I would use. But also I'm gonna make all different kinds of jigs that could then attach to it. So the inside diameter of that pipe of that jig is gonna be the same size as the outside diameter of that. So that's how I can attach it, and you know, the sky's the limit when it comes to this. So right now we got the basis of it, everything is pretty set. I'm probably gonna swap out some of these springs. I actually got 2 different types of springs. When I got the springs, I got 2 shorter ones, 2 longer ones. These are actually the shorter ones, and I'm also gonna get a different bottle jack. Since this bottle jack is kind of small, that kind of makes us restricted on the amount of travel that there is, and that's why there's all these pieces stacked up. If I get a bigger bottle jack, which I really designed this whole thing for, it was a bigger bottle jack, and then I'll have way more travel, and then I won't have to use as many things down there. So what I have going on right here is I just threw this together really quickly. So this piece wraps around that rod that I had, and this is just a jig just messing around. This isn't anything that I might use it on anything else if I have to. I just wanted to show you and demonstrate how it works. So the last thing I want to do is I want to actually try this out, and this is on 16 gauge sheet metal. It was just some stuff I had actually sitting around. So the way that this works, if you didn't get it by now, this comes down. And this old bottle jack again is a little worn out. I'm probably gonna get a different one. And then now once I release it, these springs are actually pulling this back together. If these springs weren't there, it wouldn't have gone up, you know what I mean? The springs actually keep tension on it. And then this looks just like that. Nice clean bend. I wouldn't be able to get this on a vise with just pounding on it because, you know, one end bends a little bit more than the other. So this is a nice 90-degree bend. So this is a 90-degree bend jig. And also the sky's the limit with this thing, like I was saying. So right here, this is what the jig looks like off of it. So as you can see right here, this little tube goes on the punch right there. And that slides nicely. So I can have all kinds of these things made. So this goes like that. I can get ones that are 45-degree angle, 90-degree angles. This is going to be like that. I'll even have some of these with holes cut out, obviously. So for example, a stud on a hub can pop right out of there. No effort whatsoever. You just got to jack up the bottle jack and you're good to go. Man, so definitely really cool to make something. I'm hopefully going to get a lot of use out of it. Like I said, I never regret buying or building any tools, and it's really cool and really fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video, comment, subscribe, check out the merch, do all the stuff. You know what it is, YouTube. I'm out.